gotta do it.
Hello and welcome to our Develop podcast. This is your host, Danielle Reynolds, and I am so excited to be with you all as we continue to connect, learn, and grow together. On our episode today, we will be highlighting our WP Wealth Group, which is a team of professionals who are dedicated to providing comprehensive, high-level wealth management services to a wide range of clients. Joining me is Shane Miller, WP Wealth Partner, based in our Fort Worth office. Shane is a very well-accomplished professional with many certifications, is a member of numerous professional organizations, serves on various professional boards, and is a TCU alum. I would say them all, Shane, but the list is endless. Shane, welcome, and we are so excited to have you join us.
Thanks so much. That was quite an intro.
I was looking at your list of what you do, what you're involved in, and I said, it'll take up the whole podcast time to go over these things, but
I appreciate it.
You clearly getting involved is very important to you, and you do a great job of that. So tell us a little bit about you first. Where'd you grow up? What led you to go to TCU? What did you study? Basically, how did you get to where you're at today?
So I was born in Missouri, a really, really small town called Gerald. So small, my grandma was the mayor, kind of small town.
Love it.
Moved to Frisco when I was about 8 years old. Frisco's changed a lot since then, but ended up graduating from Hebron High School. And I really wanted to go to TCU, but I was kind of a knucklehead in high school. So I ended up getting waitlisted, but I had my sights set on it. So I wasn't going to take no for an answer. So I called the dean's office actually. And I said, I'm a different person now that I am on paper. Can I have a meeting? And they said yes. And so I put on my suit and I drove over to Fort Worth, Texas, had a meeting with him, and he took me off the wait list and admitted me by the end of that meeting. So, and the reason I wanted to go to TCU so badly was at the time, they were the top ranked entrepreneurial management program.
Okay. And
so I knew that, either I wanted to own a business or I wanted to work with business owners. And I also minor in Japanese, which I don't use. TCU was a great fit for me just because I think that entrepreneurial spirit of that program is really what ultimately led me to a place like Whitley Penn, which, we have an entrepreneurial nature in our fabric.
Mm-hmm.
It also didn't hurt that, this girl I've been dating since 8th grade also wanted to go to TCU, so that kind of helped. So right out of school, I went to work for Raymond James. Really, really good timing. We had just gone through a financial crisis. I had no track record, and I wanted to invest people's money. So it was
perfect timing.
Really, really good way to get into the industry. But learned a lot about the industry at that time, which was more broker-dealer focused, but it was making its way to this kind of RIA, asset under management model. And so went through that. Realized that, picking investments and trading, that wasn't really my thing. I didn't think I was helping anyone.
Yeah.
And so I wanted to kind of explore some other options. Ended up going to Fidelity. I was there for maybe 7 months, but built some great friendships, had really good training. In fact, a lot of the folks that I met at Fidelity in that short period of time, I still see pretty regularly. Just had lunch with them a couple weeks ago. But I met Tom Ryan, who started the Wealth Group, actually at Tailgate of all places. Mm-hmm. And we just started talking shop, and he told me about this model that existed that I hadn't heard about, which was an RIA affiliated with a CPA firm. Mm-hmm. And I was like, that sounds like that helps. I knew that, being an entrepreneur, having the entrepreneurial spirit was important. I knew that I wanted to help people, and that seemed like the right way to go about it. And, the thing I always say is outside of your health, money is probably one of your top worries. And being able to help people navigate that is terribly rewarding. So that's why I wanted to do it.
I love that. Well, it sounds like you've got some good past stories.
Oh, yeah.
That'll be another podcast.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's dive into more about our WP Wealth team, which some folks externally may not know we have this whole leg of the firm and resource to the firm. So high level, what do y'all focus on?
So I think one of the things that maybe differentiates us from some of the other folks that I would say are in the financial advisory space is we're goals-based planners. I'd say everybody helps people achieve their goals, but our main focus is let's get real clear about what those goals are. One of our jokes kind of internally is people come in and say, I'm here to plan for retirement. We'll go, cool, what's that?
Yeah.
So actually getting clear about that and then putting financial science to work and coordinating that with the other aspects that are very important. Tax, estate, qualified plan, all of that is really important. So high level, what do? We focus on getting clear about the goals and delivering a high probability that they will happen.
Yeah. And I like that. It sounds like you really involve your clients in the process. It's ultimately their goals, right? Not
Absolutely.
your goals. So they've got to be included in that process. So love that sets y'all apart. So can you touch on these different services your group provides? You said the investments, the estate planning, financial planning, insurance, those qualified retirement plans. It's probably not a one size fits all for everyone. So how do you guys go about determining needs?
I think the most important thing we can do is listen. And when somebody explains kind of where they're at, where they want to go, it gives us things that we can key in on, drill down on, and ultimately have kind of an expanding conversation that goes into those different areas. So some of the main things that are kind of important to look out for that are going to let us know what's going to be helpful to them is understanding the nature of, are they a W-2 employee? Are they a business owner? Is this legacy family money we're talking about? So that gives us different tax characteristics of ordinary income. Are you a decision maker about instituting a qualified plan for your business? And then really from there, it's, okay, well, maybe I'm a business owner and succession planning is important to me. Okay, it's probably going to lead into some sort of estate planning conversation or a structured note maybe to accomplish that. So I would say the number one thing is we're going to listen and then we're going to ask some deepening questions, and ultimately that directs how we're going to approach solving their problems. Yeah,
so y'all probably stay experts in, I guess, the variety of services you touch on. It sounds like there's probably not, or maybe there is, top things you focus on or see more of. It's kind of, you let the conversation go whichever way.
Yeah, and because a majority of our clients are also clients of some other service line of the firm, there's some background that we'll just get from information sharing that is helpful in us crafting the plan. I wouldn't say that there's one thing that everybody, needs. We have a lot of clients that have maybe illiquid assets, but they're significant enough that they need estate planning. So investment management isn't a piece of that. But I think it all comes down to, if we have a conversation and you're clear and share things with us about your world, the more we know about you, the more we're going to be able to help. And, you said something about being kind of tip of the spear on planning. And that's really where I think we can compete in the marketplace, is because we're born out of this consultative tax, audit, transaction advisor, you name it, practice. I think we can not cut that conversation short, and we can go there and bring in the resources we need so that we can give tip of the spear advice.
Yeah, you mentioned working with other internal service lines here at Whitley Penn, which is obviously could be a huge advantage for our firm and our clients. Yeah. Can you touch on that a little bit more? Are there certain service lines you work more closely with, and why that is an advantage to our clients?
Absolutely. So the big one is probably tax, just because so much of what we do is tax planning around somebody's balance sheet. And so that pairs really nicely, whether it's charitable strategies, tax loss harvesting, if we're putting a qualified plan or a defined benefit or cash balance plan in place that helps them drive deferral. And then even from an estate planning standpoint, the nature of the assets and how they pass is really key to marry that with ultimately how it's going to transfer to next generation.
So what an advantage for you to be able to talk to those additional service lines internally to ultimately benefit the client. That's awesome. So when we think of achieving financial goals, right, whether focusing on driving investment returns, protecting our assets, managing expense structure. Who's a good fit for those things? Do y'all have an ideal client target, or can anyone be a good fit?
So I'd say that depending on somebody's kind of balance sheet, goal, stage of life, what have you, there's maybe more things we can do if you have a more complex structure. Sure. But, we designed the business to be able to help everybody. So, in fact, we don't have a minimum account size. We just have a minimum fee. And, my wife is a perfect example of this. She went from, I'm a med student, I got student loans, now I got residency and I got a little bit of money, and then now I've got a full-time physician job. Maybe I haven't really accumulated anything, but boy, do I need planning.
Right.
And so we want to be able to help everybody with their planning needs, regardless of, hey, I've accumulated so much. And what's interesting about that is what we found is the people who start planning earlier have wonderful outcomes.
Yeah.
But there's this thought process that, oh, well, I really don't need to talk to somebody until I've already kind of made it. And there's so much good that can be done along the way to even enhance that further.
Just even from like an educational
Absolutely.
Perspective. Yeah. I think it's so exciting when we get to really grow with our clients and see them go from here all the way up to here. Yeah. I'm sure you guys find a lot of fun in that.
Yeah.
So as far as industries and clients go, what types of clients does our team typically serve? Can it be businesses, I think you mentioned, or is it more individual, family focused? Walk us through that.
Our clients look like the clients of the firm in that we certainly work with individuals, but from a business standpoint, there's a lot that we can be doing to help them plan cash flow and forecast for the future, cash management, budgeting, reducing debt. Ultimately, those two worlds are kind of married, right? Because if you're a business owner, work and personal are the same thing.
Right.
And so making sure that those are married is really important. So I would say that what's a typical client look like? I mean, it's everything, but it just depends on what level of depth we need to go into.
Okay. I love it. Y'all are very flexible.
Oh, yeah.
So I love a recent post y'all did on LinkedIn that was directed towards small business owners and the benefits of working with a certified financial planner. So there are obviously different challenges to managing all aspects of your business, with finance obviously being no exception. So can you highlight some of those benefits for us?
Yeah. And I would say that one of the benefits of our group is we've been doing a whole lot of it for a very long time. And there's certain things that, okay, I can think of financial planning ideas that are a fit for you. But I think the thing that maybe makes us a little bit unique, because we've had so much experience in this, is the things you can't learn in a book. So watching out for family dynamic is a big one, right? Especially in these family businesses.
Yeah.
You don't want, one of the boys has been really working hard in the business, but we're going to treat him the same, and the other one's just hanging out. And so you got to be really careful of that kind of stuff.
Sure.
But I would say that, anywhere they want to go in that business discussion, we can go there. But I think it's being mindful of how much information is shared, who it's shared with, and really being careful to navigate that. Is that's an art form. It takes time.
Parents and business owners probably love you just for that reason.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That's a full-time job in of itself.
Yeah.
So as most discover in any industry or service line, there are challenges and opportunities presented as things evolve, especially in the financial world. Can you talk about some of the resources y'all use to benefit you as professionals and also benefit your clients? Maybe what our clients have access to as you navigate the planning process and different strategies and different resources?
Yeah, so as a client of WP Wealth, and in fact, if you go to our website, WPWealth.com, in the top right corner, it says clients. And there's a drop down, and you have access, and we also install it on your phone, but you'll have access to quite literally anything and everything related to your investable assets. And then also, we have your full financial plan there. And the financial plan is data driven, so it's going to be real time stuff. So as you're making decisions about life, you can actually log into your financial plan. We have some modules we built in so they could say, what if I retired 5 years sooner? Or what if I wanted to spend a little bit more in retirement? Or I was able to save more here. Then in real time, they can understand, this is where I stand, this is a good idea, maybe not such a good idea. And then because we have that client portal, which is our investment reporting side, the feedback we got is it's so easy to navigate versus going to a custodian and having all these logins and what am I looking for.
Yeah.
And so I think we simplified those tools a lot. And then on the qualified plan side, we have record keeper. So all the participants can log in, adjust their account balances. But I would say that the best resource they have is they can call us literally anytime.
Yeah.
It should ring one time and we're going to answer. That's the best part is we want to be highly responsive and be able to tackle anything so you don't have to wait for 2 meetings a year to roll around to talk about it.
Yeah. So it sounds like they could either be as hands-on or hands-off as they want to, but
Absolutely.
They have the resources. I love that they can easily go in and access that. I think that's great.
Absolutely.
So Secure Act 2.0 has been a major piece of legislation that has the potential to impact retirement savings, both individuals and businesses. Can you touch on key highlights here and maybe the biggest changes and updates that people should be aware of and discuss with their advisor?
I don't know what I'd do if they didn't change the rules every year. It keeps
us
fresh.
going.
So, yeah, we had Secure Act. Now we got Secure Act 2.0. Earlier this week, they just had some other changes, not necessarily Secure Act changes, but they're talking about removing the catch-up contribution for over age 50 participants, where that's going to have to be Roth. So they're losing some of the deferral ability. But with the Secure Act 2.0, and this is my opinion, is I think that all of this is leading up to, hey, we've given you all these great tools so you can plan for your own retirement, so you won't be upset when we start means testing your Social Security.
Yeah.
And so it's something you definitely need to be aware of. But some of the big changes are they pushed required minimum distributions. Used to be 70 and a half. Now it's 73. It's ultimately going to be 75, which that's an important thing that, let's say you retire at 60. Now you've got close to a 15-year window to unwind tax-deferred assets at a favorable rate. That's something most folks don't talk about when they think about their 401k. They think, oh man, I'm saving money on taxes. It's deferred. Well, you have to take it out in the future. And so when are you going to do that? And are you really going to get that rate arbitrage? And so we can actually forecast all of that, which is pretty interesting. The other big thing is they used to have what they call a stretch IRA. So I pass, my boys inherited an IRA from me. They now have to take it out within a 10-year period. And the reality is, when you're inheriting assets, you're probably in the highest earning period of time in your career anyways.
Yeah.
So the last thing you need is more ordinary income. And so that's going to really eat away at some of the assets that were meant to benefit the next generation.
Sure.
And so, conversion planning and thinking through all of that's becoming more emphasized, especially for high earners. I think that there's maybe more of a focus on, I need to do Roth contributions to my 401k. I need to take advantage of the backdoor Roth because Roth assets aren't subject to required minimum distributions. Well, they still have to be distributed to a non-spousal beneficiary after they pass. Distributing tax-free is pretty easy. Yeah.
I love it. So there's a lot. You got to just keep updating.
I mean, there's a whole lot more to it, but that's in a nutshell. Those are some of the big
things. And I know
things
y'all
to
have
look
great
out for.
resources on the WP Wealth website and that y'all are posting
Yeah.
regularly. So what do you think are the biggest challenges faced by wealth management professionals today?
I see more opportunity than challenges. And especially with the business model that we have, I think that you're going to see over time the entire industry move to a more coordinated approach.
Okay.
I mean, if you think about it, if you're looking for this type of advice, it's super annoying to have to go, hey, tax person, what's going on here? Hey, estate person. Hey, insurance person. Hey, you've got all these different parties and they're not talking.
Yeah.
It's frustrating from the client standpoint. And so I see more opportunity than challenge in that I think our business model is the model of the future, and future technology enhancements, and then just industry pricing on securities and trading efficiencies. All of that's to the benefit of end investor. I think it's more of a good outlook.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. Keep up that positivity. So we can't not discuss this amazing initiative you started at the firm called WP Cares. I know you've since passed it on, but tell us a little bit more about this, how it's grown over the years, and what's been your role in it.
I absolutely have a passion for nonprofits, charities. And in fact, this morning I had coffee with somebody from the United Way talking about potentially doing an episode. But the WP Cares initiative was really born out of the pandemic. And I sit on a couple of boards, and it was painful to go through those calls and hear them just defeated because, fundraising, volunteering just had to stop. And so I really thought about what can we do to spotlight them, talk about their initiatives, talk about where they're at, how they're dealing with the pandemic. And so we had a series where various organizations that are in the communities that Whitley Penn serves, we had folks on and just had them talk about their mission and what struggles they had and things that they were looking forward to. And what's neat about that too is, fast forward, we had the PPP and the ERC, and so we were able to get money for a lot of those groups, which I think helped them bounce back, and hopefully they're in a better place now because of that. But yeah, no, it's an absolute blast talking to folks about philanthropy, just because, we do so much in donor advised funds and qualified charitable gifts, but to actually see the people who are doing the mission fires you up.
I love it. Well, we definitely share that interest in nonprofits and building them up. And I know now our nonprofit industry leaders lead that WP Cares. And for anyone listening, whether you are a nonprofit or know someone, we'd love to highlight any nonprofit that would like to be featured on it. So reach out. But I love that initiative that you started. Lastly, I know you just recently brought this up the other week on one of our industry meetings, but you've been involved recently back at TCU teaching classes. Yeah. Can you just touch a little bit more on that? I mean, obviously, as you have grown as a leader, your role obviously evolves too from this, mentoring and educating. And I think that's so important. So wanted you to highlight just a little bit about what you're doing in that space and how it's added value to you.
Yeah, so I'm not actually teaching, but I helped connect two powerhouses. So Charles Schwab is in our backyard here in Westlake, and they have money set aside to help colleges build financial planning programs. And so somebody at Schwab reached out to me, obviously knew I'm a big time Frog fan, and they said, hey, we'd love TCU to have a financial planning program. We're down the road, and so could you connect us? And so I got in touch with the program director, and Whitley Penn, WPWealth, and Charles Schwab are doing some networking nights at TCU. And then we're planning to do a joint panel at TCU later this year. But I think that's ultimately where it's trending, is if those two can come together and build a financial planning program, love to be a big part of that. But I spoke to TCU Medical School. And as part of their core curriculum, they have a financial literacy class. And so I got to speak at kind of the last session of the year, and it was great. Had really good questions, and it was very interactive. And, I have a unique perspective with my wife went there. And then she went to residency and navigating all that. So I think it was well received, and hopefully they keep having me back.
Yeah. What a resource. And for all the things you mentioned earlier about knowing that knowledge from the get-go, right? Yeah. Not waiting until you've got your practice and things are rocking and rolling, but having those tools early on in your career, I'm sure is a huge benefit to them. So love that you're doing it and how involved you are within community alumni groups. I think that's so important for people to hear. So is there anything that I haven't asked you that you want to share about WP Wealth and the services and value y'all can provide?
The thing I'm probably most proud of is just our people. I think that's what makes any company or client experience really great is quality people. And so I like to think that we have some pretty strong advisors that can help you navigate difficult problems, but they're also very approachable and very empathetic and very kind. That would be the one thing I just want to highlight is there's a lot of people to work with in the world. If you want to work with some nice, smart people, we've got a good team.
I love it. You have a great team, and it's only continuing to grow. Any open positions right now?
We're always looking.
Always looking. Okay, yeah. There you go. I love that. Well, Shane, thank you again for joining me today, sharing about our WP Wealth Services team. And if anyone listening wants to learn more about how you can collaborate with this team for all your wealth management related goals, please don't hesitate to reach out. Thanks, Shane.
Thank you.